Well, g'day, and welcome back again to Jiaoqing. And today we're going to talk a little bit about shopping in China. I've just actually been in the supermarket up the second floor up here, and yeah, thought it might be while it's fresh in my mind, talk about some of the stuff that goes on here. Yeah, because it can be a mission. People have asked how I go about shopping here and stuff. I will eventually get around to actually contacting a supermarket manager somewhere and actually getting permission to go and film inside a supermarket. A lot of them have signs out the front saying, you know, no cameras and stuff. So I don't want to just walk in and start filming. I think a lot of the signs are ignored. I do see other people taking photos and making little selfie videos and stuff in there, but I'll stick to having permission to do that sort of thing, especially as we're, you know, putting it out on YouTube and stuff. Hello, how are you? So, shopping in China, how easy, difficult is it? How different are supermarkets? They're very similar to Australian supermarkets and also very different. Yeah, they sort of, it's a weird thing. So a few of the things that you kind of have to be aware of. A lot of the things that you buy by weight, like meat, fruit and vegetables, that sort of thing, rice, they don't actually, it's not priced per kilogram. It's priced per half kilogram. I don't know why. I've never quite understood that. I also had that when I was buying my electric bike. I was looking at, you know, the ranges of some of the bikes, and some of them said, you know, when I translated the thing, the thing in like Taobao or JD.com, translated the little page with all the stuff about the bikes, they'd say, you know, 160 kilometers would be the translation, and I had to check, because I would have been really fine if that was the actual translation. But I went and checked, and they said, oh no, that's half kilometers. So yeah, that was so I really had to pay attention to the symbols, you know, the Chinese symbols, when I was looking at ranges of bikes to figure out whether it was, you know, 100 kilometers or 50 kilometers, because it's a big difference. And, you know, I had every intention of riding my bike out to our new campus from time to time, and yeah, if it was half the range I thought, I would have found myself parked on the side of the road. So yeah, supermarkets, there is stuff you have to sort of be aware of, what the actual price for things is. Some things, from what I've seen, are measured per kilogram, but you've also got a lot of half kilogram measurements. What else do we have in supermarkets that's similar or different? You've got all the sort of similar sections. You know, you'll have a you know, your meat section, your fruit and veg section, your crisps section, your biscuit section, all that sort of stuff. The big difference for me is finding Western stuff, you know, stuff that I use regularly. For example, tomato sauce. In Australia, you know, I can't speak for other places, but in Australia, you know, you'll have tomato sauce will be around all similar sort of cooking products, you know, different sorts of sauces and stuff. Here, They can be anywhere. They sort of don't, because their cooking style is different, they don't really use, you know, it's not like in Australia, you cook your dinner and then you chuck some sauce on top. They don't really use sauce like that here, so it's not where you would expect it to be. And there's a number of products like that as you walk around a supermarket that are just, there are times you'll go looking for something and you'll think this is just a really easy, simple, basic item that everybody uses, but of course not everybody uses it here, so it can be a lot more challenging to find the products, you know, because they're just not something that's bought on a regular basis here, so they're not in prominent places. You have to go searching. A little bit of searching, most things you will find eventually. You know, there's not a lot of stuff here that I can't get. There are a few things I have to buy on Taobao. I use a bit of lemon juice when I'm cooking from time to time. That can be a mission to find. I actually haven't been able to find lemon juice for a while. I'm actually thinking I'm going to have to order some on Taobao and get some delivered. Yeah, generally what you can't find in the supermarket, you will find on Taobao. There's plenty of shops importing stuff. Another one for me would be chips or crisps for Americans who are watching. The only real chips I eat are salt and vinegar. They're just not a thing here. I saw salt and vinegar chips once, years and years ago, back in Walmart. It was one of the Pringles brands, but they must have sold none of them here. Actually, they weren't very good. They were rubbish. So I only ever bought them the once.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? They must have just stopped selling them because they just don't sell. It's not a flavour that is to the Chinese palate, let's say. Yeah, yeah, they do have sort of a different taste. You know, sweet things are not really very sweet here. You know, you buy cakes and stuff at the bakery, they're not sweet like cakes you would buy in an Australian bakery. They don't really get into that really sweet taste. They're more into savoury stuff, generally. So, yeah, the supermarkets are good, can be good fun here, trying to find what you're after. And then the checkouts. So, most supermarkets now have your standard, you know, manned checkout and also the self-serve area, which I'm sure they're trying to push more people to use the self-serve stuff, which I don't really use here because if you have a problem with an item, trying to scan something or so let's just go back a bit. One of the things that you'll find supermarkets sort of vary. Some of them, when you buy fruit and veg, some of them will have we've got a heap of cars coming down the road here where we have to cross. Some of them will have a weigh station at the fruit and veg area. And you get your stuff weighed, you know, that gets a price on it before it goes to the checkout. The supermarket we've just been into, they don't have that. They weigh the products at the checkout. So I can't use the self-serve checkout there because it can be, you know, there's no English stuff for the for the weighing gear on the self-service checkout. So yeah, I just can't do it. So just today we were at the checkout, and there's a line. There must have been 10 people in front of me, and very quickly after I arrived there were another 10 people in queue behind me. They had one checkout open and they had 3 staff members manning the unstaffed the self-service checkout. So yeah, they're trying to push more and more people to use the self-service stuff. I kind of refused to do that. Even back in Australia, I just refused. If they want me to do their work for them, they can pay me a wage. Was always my thing. And I like to go through the checkout, sort of talk to the checkout people, have a chat and stuff. Not that I can do much of that here, but it's fun to try. So yeah, for me, and they'll try and tell me how much my shopping costs. I just hold out my phone with my WeChat Pay thing on it for them to scan. I do keep a count on what I'm spending as I'm going around. What else can we tell you about shopping here that you might want to know if you're coming this way? Labels. Labels on products. You do find stuff in English. So for example, I've got in my bag here, we've got some spare rib sauce. We're going to grab some pork down the road and do spare rib sauce with my pork. It's really, really nice. But a lot of labels aren't in English. If you're coming here to visit and you're going to go and do some shopping, you probably don't need to know this. But if you're planning on coming here to live, and this can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but it helped me out. Whether or not you want to go to the same amount of trouble as I did is up to you. But one thing I did was, when I found products that I liked and that I was going to use on a regular basis, I would take photos of them, and I would have photos of the products on my phone so that walking around, because I can't read the labels, I can look at the picture and compare the product. Or if I'm in a new supermarket that I don't know where stuff is, I can find a staff member, show the picture and say, where's this? And you know, the staff members here I've never met a staff member in a supermarket that's not been really, really helpful. They are very friendly, especially being a foreigner. They always they're keen to have a talk, even if they can't talk to you. They're keen to try. It is, yeah, good. So if you're planning on moving here and you're going to be here sort of long term, that might be an idea worth considering. As you find products that you like, take photos, keep them in a folder. Maybe title the photo what you want to use it for, or what it is in English, so that it's easy for you to find. That really helped me out a lot. I don't really do that anymore. I've you know, if you've been watching the last couple of months, I've recently got a new phone. I haven't transferred any of them photos over. I've still got them on my old phone because I do still use a lot of that for Taobao. That's the other thing that photos come in handy for. With Taobao, if you've got a photo of a product that you want to buy, Taobao actually has a photo product. You can either take a photo of a jar or whatever you want to buy, or if you've got a photo, you can upload a photo into the app and it'll find those products for you. So yeah, it's well worth, if there's products that you're going to use on a fairly regular basis, it's well worth taking some photos. Have a folder set up on your phone just for shopping stuff. I find it really handy. I do the same thing. You know, I've been wearing the same brand of shoes now for, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago I found them. And when my shoes get old and they need replacing, I just take a photo of them in the Taobao app, and it brings up the page straight away, so I don't have to go searching for the right shoes. If you're like me, I've got pretty big feet. I'm not trying to imply anything with that. Don't think like that way. But buying shoes here can be really, really difficult. I'm about a size sort of 11 or 12 in Australia. I don't know how that translates to other countries. Everybody seems to have their own way of measuring foot sizes. But you go into shops here, shoe shops and stuff, you will find nothing in my size. They sort of stock in shops here up to size 44. I need a size 46. And also my feet are quite wide. So even a lot of shoes that are the right length, I've tried a few different brands. I actually just bought new shoes, and I tried a different type because they looked really good before I went out and bought my normal shoes. And I just can't fit in them. They're long enough, but they're not wide enough for my feet. So shoe shopping can be a mission and a half here. We've had the, so supermarkets sort of paying, knowing how much things cost, really easy. It's right there in front of you. But, oh, they're waiting. Okay, we'll go. But when you go to the markets, that's a little bit different, because they can't just scan your WeChat. Well, most of them. Some stalls probably do have that technology, but not the little one where I go to. So that, I basically point out, I mean, where I buy my pork, they sort of know me now. They'll have, you know, big lumps of pork sitting on the table that they'll cut slices off for you. I'll sort of point at the one that I want and then indicate I want it this thick or this thick, depending on what I'm cooking. They'll cut it, put it on the scales, and the price is right there. Now, with the prices, the scales do tend to sometimes be a little bit different. I went and bought a couple of bananas the other day. This was back down this way, somewhere I hadn't been to before. And their scales were saying it was, what was it? It was 45 RMB was what I looked at it as. It was sort of 45.00. And I'm looking at it going, no, that's a bit expensive. I'm not paying that for a couple of bananas. And then luckily there was another customer in there at the time who, she couldn't speak much English, but she could speak enough, and she sort of said, no, 4.5. It's moved the decimal place over 1 point. So, yeah, okay, that sounds more like the regular price. So, you do have to watch that sort of thing. I had a similar experience long time ago. I was buying potatoes at a market stall. And this was back not long after I'd first got here, so I had no idea about any of this stuff. And I grabbed, I don't know, 10, maybe a dozen potatoes to put in the kitchen. And I'd been going to the supermarket for probably a year. This happened probably a year after I got here. And so I knew potatoes, that many potatoes, sort of 15 to 20 RMB. He puts these things on the scale And it came up, and I still remember this, it came up at 97 RMB. And I looked at it and went, no, you're kidding. And he pointed at the price again. And I went, nah, leave it, I'm not interested. I actually walked all the way back into town to the supermarket to buy potatoes, because I was just going, nah, bastard's trying to rip me off. And then I told somebody, it must have been probably one of the teachers at the school. I told one of the teachers at the school about this, and I said, oh, bloody someone trying to rip off the foreigner, con the foreigner, rah-de-rah. And they said, well, how much did they say it was going to cost? I said 97 RMB. So, and they said, no, you have to move the decimal place. That was 9.7 RMB. So, yeah, I went back, I think about a week later. I went back, Frankel, my old mate from the school, his kids went to the kindergarten just down the road from behind our school. So one day when he was going to pick up his kids, I said, come for a walk with me. You know, after you pick kids up, bring the kids for a walk, come down to the markets. Because I want to go and apologise to this guy. So I went and apologised to him and said, misunderstanding, rah-de-rah. He was fine with that. And I ended up being his customer for probably the next 4 years. He's just retired, so probably a year ago he retired. So I don't shop with him anymore, but yeah. Once we got that misunderstanding cleared up, it was all good, and I became a regular customer for him because he always had good potatoes and other vegetables, and he always looked after me. And we always had a laugh and a chuckle. So we are almost back home now. We're going to finish up here. What we're actually doing is I've just uploaded the latest video. I've got another video ready to upload. I've got one that we did yesterday and this one that we're going to edit. I'm just trying to get a few videos in the bag because we are off to Zhongshan tomorrow. We'll have another video we'll do tomorrow morning. We're heading out to this drone school I've mentioned, do a video out there. Then we're driving down, one of the viewers from my channel lives out in Dinghu. We're going to drive down to Zhongshan, go and meet Jerry from Jerry's Take on China. By the time this video is up, we will have already done that. Maybe do a sit down and have a chat with Jerry, I'm not sure yet. But then we're off to Yunfu, probably going to Yunfu for about a week. So I'm not going to have the ability to upload. So I'm trying to get videos edited, and then we'll get them all sort of uploading into YouTube. But I've never tried this before. We're going to try and sort of stagger the dates so they actually come online every couple of days, so that while I'm away, we've still got videos being loaded in. So yeah, I'm going to try and figure out how we do that. I'm sure we'll get there. But yeah, that's sort of it. If you've got other questions about shopping in China, I'm sure there's lots more that I haven't thought about. There's a lot more stuff that happens here that, there's so much goes on. It's hard to remember everything. But if you've got things you'd like to know about what it's like shopping here in China, hit us up down there in the comment section. Ask your questions and we'll try and answer them for you. Facebook, a Scott in China. Come and join the Facebook group. Come and have a chat. And if you've enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If there's anything you would like to know about life here in China, in Guangdong, especially here in Zhaoqing, as always, down there in the comment section, hit us up with your questions. If you come up with good ideas, we will go do some research, try and find some answers for you, and bring you a video that helps you learn what you want to learn. But for now, we're going to go and dump this shopping, then we're off down to the markets, pick up some meat and some vegetables for dinner tonight. And then, yeah, we've got a busy day tomorrow. Drones in the morning and then driving down to Zhongshan. We're not going to stay overnight, we're going to go down there. There's an Italian restaurant there apparently, owned by a Canadian guy who's lived there for about 25 years. If it's sort of in the area where we're going to be, we're going to go and have a feed there and stuff. So yeah, busy few days coming up, and then we're packing to get over to Yunfu. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you all in the next one. Cheers.